What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to a late night news roundup here where we're going to be focusing on transfer news. We're going to be linking Liverpool with Bastoni, Vitinha, Fofana and lots more over the next 8 to 10 minutes. I want to know your thoughts, so do let me know in the comment section. Drop a like on this video if you enjoy it, and I sincerely hope that you do. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, you know what to do. Look, I've lots to get through, so I'm going to get straight into it and start off with a piece from Caught Offside around Liverpool and Vitinha. This piece said that Liverpool are keeping a close eye on Vitinha and regard him as one of the most technically gifted midfielders in Europe. However, Paris Saint-Germain would ask for a fee of about €130 million, which I think is about £110 million, to consider selling him. Now, there's a couple of things here. One, do we really believe the link? And look, of course, I think there's credibility to any link to Vitinha because we should be looking at the top midfielders in Europe, and Vitinha has certainly been somebody who's impressed me when I've watched them. Now, of course, he did have some time in English football, but Wolves didn't work out too well, but it just goes to show. Went, started elsewhere, and with Paris Saint-Germain, he's a player that when we played against them, massively impressed me. Where he would fit in or what we would do with our midfield to bring him in, I don't know, but I do want to know your thoughts on the link, and of course, on the price tag. £110 million is a lot of money, but look, if the manager or the club feel like he's the player to come in to midfield and make a difference, I wouldn't be against it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Next up, let's talk Nico Schlotterbeck, because of course we're in dire need of a centre-back. This piece here said, a contract extension from Nico Schlotterbeck at Borussia Dortmund is now more and more unlikely. This coming from Bild, by the way. He's unhappy with the way Niko Kovac wants to play and is aware of interest from more than one European club. Bayern Munich have shown interest in Schlotterbeck for a long time, and credit at Deadline Day Live for that story as well as Bild. So look, Nico Schlotterbeck, I think he stays in Germany, personally. Bayern Munich, as this piece mentioned, have been admirers of his for a while, and I just think it's more likely he stays in Germany than comes to Liverpool. But what the hell do I know? But what I can say to you is that I know too much about Schlotterbeck as a player because I haven't watched all that much of him. Is he good enough to come in and be a future leader in a defence? Well, I'm hoping you can let me know in the comment section. From what I have seen of him, very capable. Would he be good enough to come in? Don't know. I'll leave that up to you to let me know. But for me, credible link, along with others that we'll talk about. Of course, Marc Guehi. We're going to talk about Bastoni in a moment's time. It is good we're being linked with these players. But again, I do hope that Liverpool are quick off the mark to get somebody in, because I think we need someone in January. Right, so at Sport, who are over in Spain, and credit LFC Transfer Room for this post, they said Liverpool, Arsenal and Barcelona are all in the picture to sign Lyon's Malik Fofana, 20 years of age. The Premier League duo have shown the most interest in bringing the Belgium international in. We know Everton had looked at Malik Fofana in the summer, and Liverpool's name had been linked with him all the way through the window. What I don't know is how serious Liverpool's interest is. Again, it is in a position that most of us would feel we need youth in. We need a pacey winger, direct winger who can run at people. Is that Malik Fofana? Maybe. Maybe it's Yakuba Minta. Maybe it's Michael Olise. Maybe it's Antoine Semenyo, and a bit on him in a minute. But ultimately, I'm glad again we're being linked at least to a position where we do need to find a solution to what we're seeing. So again, let me know you guys. Malik Fofana, what are we saying? Would he be the right calibre to come into Liverpool Football Club? Again, 20 years of age, so quite young. Marc Guehi. A report from Dario AS in Spain said that it is mission impossible for Real Madrid to bring in Marc Guehi due to his wage demands and the bonus that he wants. That's the reason they've dropped out of the race for him, and Liverpool remain interested and favourites to sign him. This to me immediately sent my mind back to the Florian Wirtz Manchester City situation, where they were really interested, and then all of a sudden it was the wage demands or the transfer fee, and it was just a little bit too much. Might it have been because they found out he wanted to go to Liverpool? And I wonder, with this story, are Madrid dropping out because they think he's going to Liverpool? Because let's be honest, they're not shy about paying high wages, Madrid, are they? So I don't really believe that story, to be honest. I think that they may have found out he wants to go elsewhere and they're trying to save face. That's my take. Right, Mundo Deportivo, talking about Bastoni. Actually, let's go back a little bit before that. Credit LFC Transfer Room for the post, and they credit at QN_Giorno, who said Liverpool are ready to put an £88 million bid on the table to snatch Inter Milan centre-back Alessandro Bastoni, 26 years of age, although it won't be a simple deal considering he has a contract until 2028 and is one of the highest paid at the club. The newest piece said, amid the uncertainty of Ibrahim Konate's contract and the injury of Giovanni Leone, the Reds are now looking at solutions and have identified Alessandro Bastoni as an answer. Liverpool will prepare an £88 million bid as they hope to bring him in next season, and that story stemming from Mundo Deportivo. Again, would love it to be true, would very much love it to be true. I dare say most Liverpool fans would love it to be true, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it is again a ploy to stir up interest in another centre-back, or Liverpool's showing that they have options, or if it's just absolute nonsense. But would I take him at the club? Absolutely, and I dare say you probably would as well. Maybe you don't. If you don't, let me know in the comments. Right, Robbo. Just when you don't think you can love Andy Robertson anymore, he comes out with something that just reminds us why we love him so much. So speaking about his future, he said, I think, obviously, I had a bit of a stressful summer in terms of decisions and things like that. I've said to myself to just try and enjoy the next few months, and then obviously the contract talks will probably start taking over my life. He also went on to say, whatever happens will happen behind closed doors, and I'm relaxed about the whole situation. If it's my last year, then it's my last year. If not, then so be it. I love that about Robertson. He's always so honest, upfront and candid about everything, and it is a difficult call, and I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make it over Andy Robertson's future, because his contract is up at the end of the season. Right now, you feel like it'd be more likely to sign him for another short extension than not. But again, ultimately, it'll be the club's decision. Do we maybe keep him for the rest of this season, bring in somebody else next season to compete with Milos Kerkez? Or do you think to yourself, hang on, keep Robbo for another couple of years and let him and Kerkez battle it out for the starting position on the left? Again, would love to know your thoughts. Right, Indy Kayla, so massive pinch of salt time, has just said, exclusive, Antoine Semenyo has asked to leave Bournemouth in January. Now, I don't know where they got that news from. I have real reservations about it because he only signed a new contract in the summer. And to already talk about wanting away 6 months after signing a new contract seems a little bit far-fetched. It's not like Bournemouth are doing terrible this season, and it's not like they're battling relegation. They're doing really well under Andoni Iraola. So as much as I'd love that to be true, I don't believe it. I'm struggling to believe it. Look, I know we're interested in Semenyo. I think we'll all say we've seen enough to say that's probably the case, but asking for a January move away, I don't know, feels a bit far-fetched to me. Right, Julien Laurent has given some numbers that really show the difference between the attitude and the output of Liverpool and Manchester City in the game on Sunday. So he said, I know these numbers are out there already, but still, they're worth mentioning again. Manchester City ran 118, so 118 kilometres as a team versus 109 for Liverpool. That's just shy of 9 kilometres more they ran than us. That, again, comes back into the hard yards, doing the dirty work. So whatever the manager tries to say, whatever way he wants to dress it up, that's a damning stat there yet again. That the output, the work rate, the running was nowhere near. And remember, they had more of the football than us. So we were chasing it around more, but we still didn't have the same output there. Almost, as an outfield player, 0.85 of a kilometre or something short from every one of our players. Not enough. And he goes on to say, it's the second highest difference between two Premier League teams this season after City versus Wolves. So, again, we're not imagining it. The output just wasn't there. The effort just wasn't strong enough. The battle wasn't there. The desire to close down, to do the hard yards just wasn't there. And again, whatever the manager says, some of these things are not debatable. And the performance we put in against Manchester City was so far removed from the levels we're capable of that I'm glad there are numbers to back up what we've seen with our own eyes. Now, I want to talk really quickly before I finish up about the Howard Webb not unrealistic for the goal to be ruled out nonsense. My take on that is that he can say what he wants. I only ever expect him to back up the PGMOL and find some narrative or way to try to excuse piss poor refereeing and decision making. And that should have stood. Everybody that knows football knows that goal should have stood. But he has to, of course, find a way to come on there and try and slither out of it once again. Just answer me this question, Howard. Why is it that whenever we have a big game and a top of the table clash, whether it's Arsenal, Manchester City, there's Michael Oliver to have a big say in a debatable, contentious decision that just coincidentally happens to go against us all the time. Wonder why that wasn't spoken about. I don't know. Let's try and figure it out together. That's it for tonight, ladies and gents. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:45 for the late night agenda. Connor will have a video coming out in the morning and I'll have a news video in the evening. Appreciate your time as always. Bye-bye.